Welcome to the Hobby School podcast. Whether you're a seasoned hobbyist or just getting started, Hobby School is the perfect place to learn something new. My name is Dr. Destiny Kopp, and I'm your host of the podcast. But before we jump into our episode for today, the only thing I ask is that if you enjoyed the episode, please share with a friend and give us an honest review on your favorite podcast platform. This helps us get out the content to more people. I also want to invite you to get on our wait list for our next Hobby School Online Learning Summit. These are free to attend, and you can find the link to join at hobbyschool.com, which is also in our podcast show notes. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. And my special guest today is Brandi Mahon. Brandi is the creative owner of Stamp Me Some Love, host of the highly successful Card Maker Success Summit, and the course creator of Craft Biz in a Box. Craft making is her hobby, but her passion is bringing together creators and helping them build their creative businesses. She loves throwing parties and is a master networker. Hailing from Kentucky, she lives with her wife and her 3 fur babies. And Brandi, I have a ton of questions for you today. I'm so excited to jump into this topic. But before we begin, all the questions I have for you, can you tell the good audience a little bit more about you and how you help people? And I want to know a little bit more about your 3 fur babies.
Well, thank you, Destiny. Thank you so much for having me on. This is an honor. Trust me. I love everything that you guys are doing over there, and I'm so excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit more about you and how you got started and kind of your journey there.
Sure, absolutely. So I am a lifelong entrepreneur. I've been my own boss since the early 90s when I was just a young baby, and I had an interpreting business, which I still have. I'm a licensed sign language interpreter for the deaf. So I've always kind of been in that entrepreneur type business atmosphere. But I started to get into different crafts, actually since childhood, but got really serious about it in the late 2017, 16-ish. And I decided I wanted to learn how to make cards, just kind of a random hobby. And so I found a local Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and went to one of her classes and kind of got the bug as far as creating paper crafts and creating cards and that sort of thing. And Stampin' Up! Actually is like a multi-level marketing type business. And if you join as a demonstrator, then you get discounts on products and stuff like that. And then if you're successful in building a team and getting lots of customers, then of course you can make money doing it. Well, I did that for about 1.5 years. And although I love the company, they do have a non-compete clause. And I wasn't finding that team building in a multi-level marketing type atmosphere was really kind of my vibe. So I decided to step down from that and I started blogging. And at the moment, it was just sort of blogging and using affiliate links. I wasn't really, making a ton of money, but I really enjoyed the process of creating content and sharing my love of crafting with anyone who really wanted to follow me. It wasn't until about 2020, before COVID hit, that I decided that I was going to take my crafting skills online and started teaching through live Zoom classes. And of course, I thought I was going to be the next big thing because nobody was doing it at that time. And then come March, then COVID hit, and then everybody's starting to scramble. So folks are all popping up all over the place teaching online. And so I had to do another pivot in my business. And I decided that I was going to host a summit. And, as you and I are both in Summit in a Box, that course kind of changed my business. It was a life-changing event for me, I will say. And since then, I have developed a business that allows me to work full-time on it and am able to more adequately contribute to my family's household bills and that sort of thing. So it's been a life-changing event, and I am so excited that I love teaching other people how to do this, because I think that if you love what you love your work, it's not like work. It's just something that you can do and be creative. And so that's kind of been a side business that's kind of come out of this, where I'm now teaching other crafters how to create businesses they love surrounding their hobbies.
And I love that. And I love what you said about, if you love what you do, like your passion, it doesn't feel like work. And
Absolutely.
I think that is so powerful. And truly, I feel like I go to work every day and it doesn't feel like work, quote unquote work, because
Right.
I do love what I do. So walk me through a little bit more in terms of, you basically what you do. You started doing these crafts and you loved what you were doing, decided to start teaching online, teach other people how to do it. And I remember back in 2020 when kind of the world changed, right?
Yep.
The online teaching, people previously were like, how do you do that? Like, I've been teaching online back in the dark ages, back in 2005 as a university marketing professor. People would come up to me like, are you really a real teacher? Can people even really learn online? And we know now that it is one of the most powerful ways to learn, and you can just do it out of the comfort of your home. And kids nowadays, even small children, can learn that way. So walk me through a little bit more how you would recommend somebody, if they have this craft passion, what are the first steps that you would recommend that they would follow to start making money from what they love doing?
Well, that's an excellent question. And I look back at what it took for me to get where I'm at today. And I would say the number one thing that any online business owner needs to have is a healthy and growing and thriving email subscriber list. And so that's one of the first things that I teach my students, is that before you have a website, before you start spending all your time on social media, you need to develop something that will attract your ideal audience and get them to give you their email list. And what we call that in our niche is freebies, basically. And so learning how to create the freebie, how to set it up so that someone can go to a web page, doesn't have to be a full-blown website, but just a web page with an opt-in form, and the delivery method in which you can give that freebie to your audience member, I think hands down is probably the most important thing any crafter can do. And that is why I have decided that I am going to host a boot camp in March. I don't know when this is going to be aired, but we're going to be hosting a boot camp called Craft Biz Boot Camp. And the main focus is going to be on creating that first freebie, learning how to set it up on the internet, and how to collect those email addresses. So then now you've got somebody to network with and to engage with. We all know that the social media algorithms out there are not designed to help small business owners. And in fact, there was a time last year or the year before where both Facebook and Instagram went down for almost a day and a half. And my business did not suffer because I had a nice, healthy, growing email list, and I was able to reach out to my audience members via email and maintain the same rate of sales, regardless of whether or not social media was up.
And I have to say, Brandi, I completely agree with you that that is the number one thing new business owners should focus on. Don't worry about social media. You can set up your accounts if you want, but don't spend a lot of time on social media. And I think that's the first place that a lot of people go is, oh, I got to do my social media accounts. No, you got to start with the email list. let's assume that somebody has their free gift set up. They have their landing page for somebody to go sign up for their free gift, and they have their email welcome sequence, the emails that are sent out after somebody signs up for their list. What would you recommend that they do next?
I would recommend that they start creating content. And this can come in various different forms. Just, a simple blog post, or if you want to spend the time, creating that content for your favorite social media channel. But the main thing is that once you have that content, that you are actually reaching out to your audience members via email on a weekly basis to derive them back to those platforms where you have this free content for them to consume. I think that this develops over time, the like, know, and trust that folks develop as they get to know you and get to know your personality and your style. The other caveat I would say that with that is that video is king right now, or queen, if we want to call it in that terms. And not only showing your craft, but showing your face and developing a relationship with the camera, I think is very, very important in terms of developing those relationships with your audience members.
I think that's a great next step. Start creating that content, whether it's a blog post, maybe even podcast. Podcasting is my thing. I prefer that. Or, doing it on social media, or a combination of both. So let's say that we have set that up. We're regularly blogging or maybe doing podcasting. What would you recommend that we do next? When can we actually start earning money from our new craft business?
Sure. So a lot of bloggers out there, not bloggers, but people who teach blogging, I should say, suggest that you have about 1,000 people on your list before you start to develop your own products. And while you're doing that, just thinking backwards, is that when you're creating your content, either on your blog posts or your social media, is that using affiliate links is a good way to kind of get your foot in the door to develop relationships with brands. But that's not really going to earn you a lot of money, but it is going to be something coming in, at least something that you can measure and gauge to determine how well your content is being seen. But once you have about 1,000 people on your email list, or you're about to, I would consider creating a small product. And for me, what has been very effective is creating live Zoom craft alongs or classes. And I think that will get you ready to, when you're starting to kind of grow and scale. My big product, I guess, if you will, is our summits. And we have VIP all access passes attached to those summits. So that is kind of like my signature course, if you will. Although it's a low ticket item, it incorporates a lot of different people and a lot of different products in that. But before you get to that stage, I would say creating a small product, maybe something in the price range of $19 to $49, could be a class. It could be a pre-recorded video on a technique or something like that. But getting your feet wet with starting to sell your own digital product, I think is an important next step.
And I love that. And I love that you suggested starting small, not starting with this huge brand, signature program or group coaching program, but starting small with a small digital product, whether that's a live Zoom class or just, something where you're teaching on video, maybe even like a mini course. So I love that. Brandi, what last minute tips before we hang up here do you have for somebody who is a passionate crafter and they are definitely interested in, monetizing that craft and turning it into a business?
Well, I think, getting clear on why you want to do this is very important, because just because you love to do crafts does not mean it's going to be an easy thing to do in terms of developing a business. You have to take it seriously, and you have to kind of know where you're going. I, quickly decided that summits were the thing for me, and have kind of honed in on that. I do smaller one-off live Zoom classes just to kind of keep my audience engaged with my own craft skills. But being very clear about what you want and developing a game plan early on in your business career, I think is important. And that's what I would suggest.
I love that. And Brandi, can you let folks know, number one, where they can find you if they want to take this a step further? And also, I believe you have a free gift for them.
Absolutely. So my website is stampmesоmelove.com. We have a blog. We also have a small craft store on there, as well as our academy where we host all of our classes. I have a free gift to share with everyone, and that is a craft room organization checklist. And this is going to help get you started on how to organize that craft room, which I'm sure probably looks much like mine at the moment, and gets your stuff organized so that you can create with less stress and more joy.
And thank you, Brandi, for joining us today and walking us through how we can basically take our craft hobby and turning into a money-making business.
Awesome. One thing I would like to add, Destiny, is that I will share with you once I get the link set up for our Craft Biz Bootcamp, which again will take place March 3rd through the 5th. I'm really excited about that, and to help our crafters out there develop their first freebie and start collecting and engaging with their email subscribers.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Thank you so much for listening today. Don't forget to sign up for the waitlist so you'll be the first to know when our next free Hobby School online learning summit launches. The link is in the show notes for this episode, or you can go to hobbyschool.com, and that's Hobby School with school without an H in it. Talk soon.